In the age of social media, the phenomenon of constant comparison exacerbates the struggle to find inner happiness. Platforms like Instagram and Facebook often portray a curated version of people's lives, leading to unrealistic standards. This constant comparison can foster feelings of inadequacy and hinder the journey towards self-contentment. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, a common challenge that many individuals face is the pursuit of happiness. While external factors such as relationships, career success, and material possessions are often considered sources of joy, the ability to find happiness within oneself is a crucial aspect of personal well-being. This essay explores the real-life problems associated with learning to be happy within oneself and the strategies to overcome these challenges. Once there was an emperor who fell in love with a monk in Japan. The emperor had a nightly routine of riding his horse around the empire. Every day, he would come across a sage sitting under a tree, immersed in his own happiness. The sage would engage in various activities, dancing, playing the flute, humming a song, or simply sitting quietly and gazing at the stars. Each time the emperor passed by, he couldn't help but halt and observe the monk's activities, captivated by the scene. He would linger for a moment, enjoy the spectacle, and then resume his journey. Over time, the emperor's fascination with the sage grew so profound that he lost track of time. He would discreetly stand behind a bush, watching the hermit's antics from afar. The joy the emperor derived from this experience would accompany him back to the palace. Eventually, it became a daily ritual, but one day, his emotions overwhelmed him. He approached the monk, prostrated himself, and pleaded, "Maharaj, I cannot let you remain here any longer. The rainy season is approaching, and you are beneath this tree. How will you endure the rains? Come to the palace, bless me, and grant me the opportunity to serve you." In response, the hermit rose, picked up his belongings, and simply said, "Let's go." The emperor was taken aback by this unexpected agreement. He had anticipated the monk refusing, saying, "Which palace? We find contentment where we are. We renounce clothes, jewelry, and palaces. We have no need for such luxuries." The emperor had hoped for these words, thinking that he could then plead further. However, the hermit's immediate acceptance left the emperor bewildered. He began questioning himself, wondering if he had made a mistake. Was the monk playing another trick on him? Was this an elaborate scheme to enter the palace? He pondered whether the monk, through his flute playing and other activities, had ensnared him, making the emperor fall into a clever trap. Unable to articulate his thoughts, the emperor was left without an opportunity to express his concerns. The emperor, observing the hermit, pondered, "What a saintly demeanor he possesses, readily yielding to indulgence." The emperor's admiration for the monk waned, realizing that the monk had promptly agreed to enjoy the luxuries presented. As the monk comfortably rode the emperor's horse, the emperor, compelled to walk for the first time, harbored aching disappointment. Self-cursing ensued as he acknowledged his hasty misjudgment. Despite regret, the emperor, bound by his word, conceded, foreseeing the monk's place within the palace amid numerous other idle inhabitants. The initial reverence for the monk dissipated entirely, replaced by resentment as the monk reveled in opulence, exacerbating the emperor's daily tribulations. Jealousy brewed within the emperor, contrasting with a moment of respect when the monk found happiness beneath a forest tree, seemingly content with little. The monk's flute playing continued, transitioning from the forest to the palace, the only divergence being the opulent setting. The emperor, witnessing the monk's lavish lifestyle, felt a serpent of regret coil within him. "What manner of man have I brought? Is this truly a monk? His existence surpasses even mine in luxury." The emperor, burdened with familial, imperial, and material concerns, found the monk's carefree existence intolerable over 6 months. Eventually, he approached the monk, posing a question. "Saint, what distinguishes you from me?" The monk, perceiving the emperor's delayed query, responded, "You wish to discern the difference now?" Acknowledging the emperor's unspoken inquiry during their earlier encounter, the monk chided him for 6 months of unnecessary distress. The monk agreed to elucidate the dissimilarity outside the city on the following morning, highlighting the emperor's prolonged and needless inner turmoil. The emperor arose early the following morning, his curiosity piqued about what distinguished him from others. Contemplating the potential disparities, he concluded that there was none. The emperor observed that the other person consumed the same food, yet demanded more, living in a more opulent chamber. While he managed with 2 or 3 servants, the other person employed 15 to 20 throughout the day. The insatiable needs persisted, constant requests and ostentatious attire. Despite being identified as the minister, the emperor inspired fear among the palace residents, except for this individual. The latter, unconcerned, spent the day playing the flute. Venturing to the hermit's abode early morning, the emperor beheld a surprising sight. The monk, clad in familiar attire from his tree-dwelling days, carrying a bag and a flute, awaited him. The monk suggested they depart, and together they exited the palace, traversing the city river on foot. When inquired about the remaining distance, the monk indicated a short while longer, prompting the emperor to declare, "No further, speak your thoughts." Responding, the monk asked if the emperor would accompany him. Angrily, the emperor rebuffed the notion, citing familial and imperial obligations. The monk chuckled at the emperor's response, highlighting the key difference between them. The monk's ability to go anywhere, finding contentment in all circumstances. He emphasized living fully in the present, devoid of regret for the past or worry about the future. The monk underscored their capacity to navigate life's events without being swayed, maintaining composure in every situation. Happiness or sorrow for them was transient, and they reveled in the joy of the present moment. Suddenly, the emperor came to the realization of his actions, realizing that he had lost a truly remarkable man. Despite spending 6 months with him, the emperor couldn't bring himself to engage in satsang even for a single day. Doubt crept into his mind, questioning, "Why should I participate in satsang?" It dawned on him that the hermit, whom he had initially perceived as extraordinary, turned out to be an ordinary man, akin to a fake coin adorned with gold polish, but concealing mud within. These thoughts compelled the emperor to act swiftly. He grasped the hermit's feet and implored, "No, Maharaj, I won't let you go any further." In response, the monk reassured, "I have no issue. Your horse is here. I will ride it back to the palace. However, you will face challenges again." This statement triggered a realization in the emperor's mind. He accepted it so easily again. The hermit gazed into the emperor's eyes and declared, "But no, I won't return because you won't change. You'll encounter difficulties again, harbor jealousy, and be troubled day and night. As monks, the palace and the forest are the same for us. We face no problems. My flute will play in the forest as it did in the palace." Having spoken these words, the sage departed, leaving the emperor standing there, watching him go. This story imparts 2 valuable lessons. Firstly, people often value something only until they possess it. Once regained, the appreciation diminishes. The emperor only realized the hermit's worth after he left. Therefore, one should carefully consider making someone their own, and once they are, not reject them. Secondly, irrespective of the situation, strive for happiness, much like the hermit who found joy both in the forest and the palace. living life with equal acceptance of happiness and sorrow, as advocated in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and by Gautam Buddha, is the key to a fulfilling life. Avoid dwelling on the past, worrying about the future, and instead live in the present moment with awareness and happiness for a life filled with joy and peace. If you found this insightful, please give it a thumbs up to help us reach more individuals seeking ancient wisdom. If you're new here, consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell for additional lessons on ancient wisdom. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to having you in our next video. To access more content, select one of the videos appearing on your screen now.